Ever wondered what SOC is and why SOC 2 compliance matters? Let's break it down. SOC, or System and Organization Controls, is a framework for managing and securing customer data. It's like the guardrails on a highway, guiding and protecting organizations as they handle sensitive information. Now, SOC 2 compliance is a specific set of standards within this framework focusing on 5 key areas: security, availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy. It's like a seal of trust, assuring customers that their data is in safe hands. Why does it matter? In today's digital age, data breaches are all too common, and SOC 2 compliance helps organizations avoid such nightmares. It ensures that customer data is not just secure, but also available when needed, processed accurately, kept confidential, and privacy is respected. So, SOC 2 compliance is a crucial aspect of maintaining security and trust in the digital world. Now let's delve into the different types of SOC reports. In the world of System and Organization Controls, or SOC, there are 3 primary reports that are of critical importance. These are SOC 1, SOC 2, and SOC 3. Each of these reports serves a unique purpose, and their relevance varies depending on the stakeholders involved. Let's start with SOC 1. This report is all about financial reporting. It focuses on the controls at a service organization that may impact an entity's financial statements. Essentially, it's all about ensuring that your financial ducks are in a row. Auditors, accountants, and the finance department might be particularly interested in this one. Next up, we have SOC 2. This report is the main star in our discussion today. SOC 2 goes beyond financial reporting and delves into the realms of security, availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy. It's particularly relevant for IT and security professionals, as well as stakeholders who want assurance about the security and availability of the systems that process their data. Last but not least, there's SOC 3. This report is essentially a public-friendly version of a SOC 2 report. It provides an overview of the service organization's controls, but doesn't delve into the detailed description and testing of controls that a SOC 2 report does. It's great for marketing purposes and can be freely distributed to anyone interested in knowing that a service organization has controls in place and they've been audited. So, how does one choose the right report? Well, it all comes down to understanding your organization's needs and the needs of your stakeholders. If your stakeholders are concerned about financial reporting, then a SOC 1 report might be the way to go. But if they're more interested in the nitty-gritty of your security controls and data protection measures, then SOC 2 or SOC 3 would be more appropriate. Understanding these reports is key in choosing the right one for your organization's needs. To grasp SOC 2 compliance, we need to understand the Trust Services Criteria. The Trust Services Criteria, or TSC, is a set of guidelines established by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, better known as the AICPA. This criteria is the bedrock for achieving and maintaining SOC 2 compliance. The TSC is centered around 5 trust service categories. These categories are not mere buzzwords, but rather they represent the core principles that underpin SOC 2 compliance. Let's delve into these categories. First, we have security. This is the foundation of the TSC. It focuses on protecting systems and data against unauthorized access and breaches. It's about ensuring that the right people have the right access at the right times and no one else. Next, we have availability. This pertains to the accessibility and usability of systems, products, or services as stipulated by the entity's policy. It's about making sure that when a customer needs to access their data or use a service, it's ready and waiting for them. Then we have processing integrity. This refers to the completeness, validity, accuracy, timeliness, and authorization of system processing. It's all about making sure that data is processed correctly, completely, and in a timely manner. The fourth category is confidentiality. This concerns the protection of information deemed confidential, as defined by the entity's policy. It's about keeping sensitive data hidden from those who shouldn't see it. Lastly, we have privacy. This revolves around the collection, use, retention, disclosure, and disposal of personal information. in accordance with the entity's policy and respecting the rights of the individual. It's about treating personal data with the respect it deserves. All these categories interlock to form a robust framework for SOC 2 compliance. They ensure that an organization not only talks the talk, but walks the walk when it comes to securing customer data and maintaining high standards of integrity and privacy. These categories form the backbone of SOC 2 compliance. And understanding them is the first step towards achieving this important compliance milestone. So, who should pursue SOC 2 compliance? Well, any organization that stores, processes, or transmits customer data can benefit from SOC 2 compliance. This is especially critical for service providers who handle sensitive customer data. Whether you're a cloud computing service, a data center, or a fintech company, SOC 2 compliance should be on your radar. But why is it so important? First, SOC 2 compliance helps in managing risks. It ensures you have robust controls in place to protect customer data. Second, it aids in regulatory compliance. With stringent data protection laws like GDPR and CCPA, SOC 2 can help you stay on the right side of the law. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, it fosters trust with customers. In an era where data breaches are increasingly common, customers want to know their data is in safe hands. SOC 2 compliance demonstrates your commitment to data security and privacy. In essence, SOC 2 compliance is key in managing risks and fostering trust with customers. Achieving SOC 2 compliance involves several steps. Let's break them down. First off, we have scoping. This initial phase is all about identifying the systems, services, and data that will be covered by the SOC 2 audit. It's a bit like drawing up the blueprint for a building project. You need to know what you're working with. Next comes the readiness assessment. This is where you evaluate your organization's current controls against the trust services criteria. It's almost like a rehearsal for the main event, giving you a snapshot of where you stand. Following the readiness assessment, we have the gap analysis. This step identifies any areas where your organization falls short of the SOC 2 requirements. It's about pinpointing those gaps in the wall that need to be filled. Then, we move on to remediation. This involves addressing the gaps identified in the previous stage. It might mean implementing new controls or strengthening existing ones. It's about patching up those gaps and reinforcing the wall. Finally, we arrive at the audit. This is where a third-party auditor steps in to assess your organization's controls against the SOC 2 criteria. They'll conduct tests, review evidence, and ultimately determine whether you meet the SOC 2 standards. It's like the final inspection of that building project we mentioned earlier. Now, let's talk about the role of third-party auditors. These professional auditors bring an objective and independent perspective to the SOC 2 audit process. They're not part of your organization, which means they can provide an unbiased assessment. They're the ones who will issue the SOC 2 report at the end of the audit, providing a seal of approval or a list of areas for improvement. They're like the quality control in this process, ensuring everything is up to scratch. So, to recap, scoping, readiness assessment, gap analysis, remediation, and audit. These are the key steps on the road to SOC 2 compliance. And remember, a third-party auditor plays a vital role in this process. Security is a central aspect of SOC 2 compliance. It's the cornerstone of protecting sensitive data and ensuring the integrity of our systems. So, let's take a closer look at the critical security controls required for SOC 2 compliance. First up, we have access controls. These are the gates and guards of our digital kingdom, controlling who gets in and who doesn't. They can include anything from complex password requirements to multi-factor authentication and more. The goal is simple: ensure only authorized individuals have access to sensitive data and systems. Next, we have data encryption. Think of it as a secret language that only your system can understand. By encrypting data, you convert it into a form that's unreadable to anyone without the key. Whether it's data at rest or in transit, encryption is a must-have for keeping your sensitive information safe. Third, we have incident response. This is your plan of action for when things go wrong. A strong incident response strategy can help you detect, contain, and recover from security incidents quickly and efficiently. It's all about being prepared and knowing what to do when a security breach occurs. Last, but certainly not least, is vulnerability management. This involves identifying, evaluating, and addressing vulnerabilities in your systems before they can be exploited. Regular security assessments, patch management, and continuous monitoring are all part of a robust vulnerability management strategy. Implementing these security controls is not a one-off task, but an ongoing process. It requires regular reviews and updates to ensure they remain effective against evolving threats. Best practices include conducting regular audits, providing employee training, and integrating security into your organization's culture. But remember, these controls are not just about ticking boxes for compliance. They play a crucial role in protecting your organization's data and systems, building trust with your customers, and maintaining your reputation in the digital marketplace. Effective security controls are vital in achieving and maintaining SOC 2 compliance. They are the foundation of a secure and resilient organization, and they are the key to earning and keeping the trust of your customers and partners. Achieving SOC 2 compliance is one thing, maintaining it is another. This is a truth every organization must embrace when it comes to system and organization controls, or SOC 2 compliance. Why? Because the digital landscape is constantly evolving, and so are the threats that seek to exploit it. Therefore, a one-time compliance check is not enough. It's like getting a health checkup. You can't just do it once and forget about it. It's an ongoing process. To maintain SOC 2 compliance, it's crucial to conduct regular assessments of your controls. This involves routinely checking and testing your security, availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy controls. This way, you can ensure that they're still effective and up to date with the latest standards and best practices. But it's not just about checking the boxes, it's also about improvement. After all, the goal of SOC 2 compliance is to continually enhance the security and trustworthiness of your organization. So, as you assess your controls, look for areas where you can raise the bar. This could mean implementing new technologies, adopting better practices, or even re-evaluating your risk management strategies. And let's not forget about audits. Regular audits are a key part of maintaining SOC 2 compliance. These audits, typically performed by third-party auditors, provide an objective assessment of your organization's compliance status. They help identify any gaps or weaknesses in your controls and offer recommendations for improvement. Now, all this may sound like a lot of work, and indeed it is. But remember, the benefits of maintaining SOC 2 compliance far outweigh the efforts. It not only enhances your organization's security posture, but also builds trust with your customers and stakeholders. In the end, maintaining SOC 2 compliance is about staying vigilant. It's about being proactive rather than reactive. It's about constantly striving to better protect your customers' data, your organization's reputation, and ultimately, your bottom line. Remember, maintaining SOC 2 compliance demands ongoing effort and vigilance. So, keep up the good work and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in data security and privacy. We've covered a lot of ground today. We started with the basics, defining SOC and SOC 2 compliance, and why they're crucial for safeguarding customer data. We then took a deep dive into the different types of SOC reports, each with its unique purpose and relevance to various stakeholders. Moving on, we explored the trust services criteria, the backbone of SOC 2 compliance, and the 5 trust service categories they encompass. We discussed the importance of SOC 2 compliance for organizations, especially those handling sensitive customer data, and the benefits it brings in risk management, regulatory compliance, and customer trust. We also walked through the SOC 2 audit process and the role of third-party auditors. We examined the necessary security controls and the best practices for implementing them. Lastly, we stressed the importance of maintaining SOC 2 compliance over time through continuous monitoring and improvement. In conclusion, SOC 2 compliance is a critical factor in ensuring the security and trustworthiness of service organizations. It's not just a box to tick, but a commitment to your customers' data security and privacy.